Today in the studio with me is Frea. Welcome, Frea.
Hello.
And we're having a little giggle, aren't we? Because I was trying to figure out what your proper title should be. And I suggested to you that you might be a yogi, but I'm totally wrong there. So what is the correct name for a lady yoga expert?
I think yogi's fine, although some people will call themselves yoginis, some women, although I don't think that's a proper term.
Somebody made it up somewhere, didn't they?
Yeah.
A yogini in a bikini.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
A yogini in a bikini. Bikini sounds very feminine as well.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad you told me that, because someday somebody is going to ask me this question. It might be the $1 million question in a quiz. You know, what do you call a lady yoga expert? And the way I'm going to remember it is a bikini.
Yeah.
It might be a yellow polka dot.
You don't
bikini.
have to wear a bikini doing yoga, though.
No, you don't.
I hasten to add. I think it would put everybody off.
Oh, right. So what's your business called then?
So my business is called Yoga with Frea Newport. So Newport is sort of in inverted commas. But I've also got another sort of sub-branch called the Intuitive Body, which is more geared towards yoga for menopause, which is something I'm really interested in. I'm qualified as a menopause yoga teacher about 4 years ago. So I tend to teach women who are sort of perimenopausal through to postmenopause, sort of people, anyone sort of over 40, although I do teach a lot of men as well.
What do you teach a different kind of yoga for different ages and for men and women? If I was a man, would I be looking at something different to what you would teach a woman?
No, not at all. My Wednesday night class, where I've got a mix of men and women, is just a standard hatha yoga class. And the way I teach, really, sort of at the heart of my teaching, is just getting people to work very intuitively with their body. So I work a lot on the breath. I get them to move very instinctively. I don't really try and force them into specific shapes, you know. So I really encourage them to move in the way that their body wants to move. I mean, there are a lot of different types of yoga. I trained in loads of different types when I was living in Brighton over 10 years ago. Iyengar, Ashtanga, Yin, restorative,
Wow,
Vinyasa.
I see. I didn't even know there were all
there's
these
loads
different
of different types of yoga, and I guess my teaching has evolved over the last 10 years. It's gone from quite strong yoga, very fluid Vinyasa, where you move around the mat very quickly, to much slower, strength-based, very sort of breath-orientated yoga. As I've sort of aged and my body's changed and my needs have changed, my teaching has sort of changed as well. And I think really my aim is to encourage people who look at yoga and think, oh my God, that is just not for me. Yoga, you know, people have got preconceived about what yoga is. Some people think you're sitting in a cave with a shaved head, sort of transcending thoughts. Other people think you've got to be in the latest gear and get into sort of contortionist back bends. It really isn't that, you know. So I want people to come to yoga who think they just don't fit into that hole, you know. Yeah. And I think what happens is they get onto the mat and they realise this is not what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And, you know, they float out of the
that's
out
lovely.
of the
It's
session.
good to hear you say that, because I've never done yoga, and I have to be honest, I'm amongst those people who think that you've got to put your body in weird shapes
Bikini.
and in a bikini. But, you know, and I think, I've got to wrap my legs around my neck and things like that, because I don't think I could do that.
I mean, there are, you know, it depends on the teacher.
But I guess also that's something that you might eventually be able to do, and you wouldn't be expected to do that on day one, would you?
But it's not really about getting into these shapes that you see, you know, trying to really bend your back or touch your toes or do a one-legged handstand. You know, I think this is the thing. People have got ideas of what yoga is, but it really isn't. The word yoga means unite. And it's about bringing your mind and body together, and your spirit and your breath, whatever little words like that you want to use. It's a very, very old practice. It's thousands and thousands of years old. It's a Sanskrit word. And, you know, originally it was just about calming the mind and sitting and leading a very spiritual life. The ancient texts are called the Vedas, the Upanishads, and the postures didn't even exist. They really didn't. It was just about sitting and trying to quieten the mind, meditation. And it all started in India. Most people sort of know that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a religion. But in the West, and it really didn't come to the West until the sort of 60s, it was brought over by a yogi then, came into the Royal Ballet, actually, and they used yoga in the Royal Ballet.
Okay.
And then it evolved, the postures evolved. And in the West, it is seen as more of a fitness culture, which again, it's changing again now because of mental health and mindfulness.
Yeah.
Suddenly, in the West, we're going back to what it was originally, So we live in a time when our minds are just chaotic, and really yoga is about the mind. It's about calming down the nervous system, sort of moving away from that overthinking mind. We're constantly narrating our lives to ourselves inaccurately. There's all sorts of imaginations going on, and we make up stories. It's all quite negative, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so.
And yoga is about sort of moving away from that, but recognising that the mind is pretty inaccurate. This just shows, that the fluctuations of the mind has been there since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
It's been there with humans forever. It's not like a new phenomenon that we all think it suddenly is. Everyone is like having meltdowns all the time. That's what the human mind is like.
Yes.
So what yoga tries to do, and what I try to do in my classes, is move the body, breathe efficiently, which is quite a difficult thing to do, and people find that quite elusive. They find the breathing element quite tricky because we breathe unconsciously, don't we? We don't think about our breathing. And when you're feeling your body moving and breathing, and you're feeling the feedback, the sensations from the body, your mind starts to sort of dampen down. Everything starts to calm down. And you start to observe and notice, and you start to sort of self-regulate, So really, I suppose what underpins yoga is this self-observation, self-regulation, and using movement to help you relax. And when your body relaxes, it sort of sets an example for your mind.
Yeah.
Okay, and I know that might sound all a bit woo-woo and yogic, but it's not really like that. And sort of talking about it,
I guess you have to experience it to
you do.
understand
It's really
it properly,
difficult for me to sort of explain it. And you can see I'm sort of moving around because I'm much better at communicating when I move. But
so really
when you're on the mat, you sort of start to you would understand what I was talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
So really, you need to give it a try and see where you go from there.
And I really don't. I teach a lot of chair yoga, so I teach a lot of women, and I've got one man.
Oh yeah, good.
Derek, who's brilliant.
Hello, Derek.
The women in the classes, some of them in their 90s, they have MS, Parkinson's, mobility problems, and they sit on the chair, and I do exactly the same thing. Obviously, we're not on the mat. I get them to feel what they're feeling. I get them to notice how their breathing is. This is how we start. They sort of bring their gaze inward, which sounds a bit sort of esoteric, but again, you can't see me. Difficult. And then we start to move. And do you know what they do? Okay, they're not doing downward dogs or sort of traditional mat poses, but they're moving very fluidly, and they're breathing, and they're focusing. And they float out of that class.
I see an awful lot about chair yoga in recent times. I've seen it all over social media, and people are talking about it. And that seems like a great idea for me to, especially for people like sort of my age and older, where your body's not quite so flexible. And if I got down on the floor, probably wouldn't get up again.
Honestly, you don't have to be flexible to do yoga. You really don't.
But I guess it kind of helps to make you more flexible. Would I be right?
It definitely helps flexibility and mobility. It builds strength. We work primarily, so one of the most important things about yoga is working on the spine. So the spine is such an important structure. It houses our nervous system. It brings the junctions of the body together, our shoulders and the pelvis. And the movements that we do, whether you're on the chair or the mat, revolve around the range of motion of the spine. So our spine flexes and extends. I'm doing the movement here on the chair.
I wish I had a camera for this. She looks like a ballet dancer, if I'm honest.
It moves laterally from side to side, and it twists. I could do a whole chair yoga practice in here now. So twisting, so it rotates. So when you're doing yoga postures, you're moving through all these different ranges of movement of the spine. Okay, that's the most important thing that we have to keep healthy, because we sit, don't we? How do we all slouch. Our children are slouching. My son, I have to absolutely like grab his shoulders and pull them back when he's on his phone. You know, it's really scary. But we all do it. We're all we become very lazy as adults, and core muscles go. We're sitting all the time, glute muscles are weak, and we all end up in this really sort of recoiled state. So looking after the spine and getting people to sort of understand how important the spine is, it's integral to the practice. So I think a lot of people come to yoga and they're like, oh, I've got really tight hamstrings. It's like, it doesn't matter. Your spine is more important than your hamstrings, you know?
Yeah, it is when you stop and think about it.
Because people have got like an idea of what yoga is and how you should look because of the media, you know, and it's just any media, isn't it? You know, you're not going to see a magazine or an Instagram post with someone sitting on a chair and all slouched, but actually that's just the normal human body, and it can do yoga, you know. So the chair yoga I absolutely love, and it's a lovely community. It really brings women.
I guess it's a social thing as well as being so good for you, isn't it?
Yeah, and we do stand behind the chairs, so we do standing postures as well, and people do as much or as little as they want, you know. So obviously when you start to practice yoga, you really notice how asymmetrical your body is. Your shoulders are different. One shoulder moves more easily than the other, your hips. So you start to become aware of how imbalanced you are, and which is good, but also then you're constantly thinking, oh my God, I can't do that on this side. But that's completely normal, you know.
Yeah. And getting to know your own body has got to be a good thing, hasn't it, really?
Do you know what? Most people walk around, their body is like a foreign country to them. And I just think this is the only vehicle you've got. You know, you can't like trade it in every couple of years.
We do need to look
like
after
I do
it,
with
don't
my
we?
car normally, which breaks down or something happens. You've got to really, it's like you've been given this, look after it. And it is quite easy to look after, really. What I try to sort of say to my students is, don't look at yoga like it's like exercise and it's a chore. Come to the mat, leave your day behind. If you're really knackered, just lie down on your mat for the hour. It doesn't matter. No one cares. People are all doing different things. So they've got different energies.
That's good then, because I think maybe a concern of people might be that they've got to keep up with the next person and be judged. But you're saying, no, just do your own thing,
it is
really.
The antithesis of that. The ego is terrible, isn't it? It comes up. It's like, oh my God, I can't get into that position. But nobody, I think,
go at your own pace, really.
After people have been in my classes like once or twice, they'll realise that everyone is just doing their own thing. They're not looking at anyone else. They're thinking about that themselves. They're observing their bodies and what they're feeling. I don't want anyone to be thinking, am I doing a good yoga practice today? You know, it's just like, it really isn't about that. And if we're doing something like downward dog, and I expect most people who are listening will think, oh, I know what a downward dog is. It's like an upside down V. So, and it's in every single class, you know, you see it in most yoga classes. So sometimes you do downward dog. It's really tiring. It's really difficult. So I always say, look, as soon as you feel tired and your breathing changes, just drop into something called child's pose, which is like this lovely little relaxing sort of intimate shape, like fetal position, but you're on your knees. And then when your body's recovered, and it recovers really quickly, just go back into the pose. So don't stay in that pose and get really tired because your mind is going, I've got to stay here. I'm not going to be the first one to fall back onto the mat. And I think people start to realise, actually, this practice is about me really nurturing myself and really looking after what my body really needs. The body is leading the practice, not your mind saying, you need to do this, we're in a balance, if you fall over, that's it. You know,
listen to your body.
And don't worry if you're falling. If you're wobbling, wobble into the wobble. You know, we're not on a beam like Nadia Comaneci in 1977, you know, in the Olympics. You're just playing. I look at balancing like playing on your mat. It's really fun, you know. And when we were kids and we were balancing, the aim of the balance was to sort of fall over, wasn't it? You'd all fall over laughing. And I don't know what happens to us. Something must happen in puberty, when we just become really serious and everything is like, you've got to do it right because the teacher's watching or there's other people in the class and I've got to be better than them today. And that is really unhelpful.
And I guess that is something that most people might be a little bit concerned about. Maybe if people have been thinking, I wouldn't mind giving it a go, but that must be one of the reasons
it really
that
is.
people perhaps don't do it.
And it's a shame.
So what about, you do courses for pregnant women as well, did you say?
I teach pregnancy yoga.
Yeah.
Yes.
What does that entail then?
Well, do you know what?
That must be really difficult if you've got a big
honestly, it's
lump in front of you.
It's a lovely... I love my pregnancy classes. The main difference really is, because there are certain things when you're pregnant that you can't do, like you can't lie on your tummy, obviously. And also you can't really lie on your back. So the practice really is just about abandoning those postures and doing things that they can do. So it's not hugely different. I just have to remove the postures that don't work for them. And this is why it's much easier to teach a separate practice. Sometimes they come along to my normal practices and then I give them modifications. But the pregnancy classes, the main thing is they learn a lot about the breath because you need to understand breathing. So, that breathing is the most important thing in all of my classes. So do you want me to do a little bit of breath work with you?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
So what I want you to do is just put your hands on your tummy.
Okay.
Okay. I want you to close your eyes if you can.
Okay, I can do that.
All right. So just notice your breathing. So you're not changing it. I just want you to notice what's moving in the body as you breathe. Okay, so some parts of your body are moving more than others. Some parts are moving a tiny bit. Some parts are moving a lot. The rhythm as well. So it could be fast. It could be slow. It could be really irregular or rugged, because our breathing changes throughout the day depending on what's happening in your life. So like before I came here today, my breathing was really shallow. I was like quite anxious, thinking, oh God, I've got to talk. So just sort of notice it.
Okay.
I normally do this for like a couple of minutes, right? Mm-hmm. And then I want you to take your awareness down into your tummy, where your hands are, and start to just become aware of your tummy moving. So as you breathe in, your tummy will push into your hands. And then when you breathe out, it settles back down. So think about how babies breathe. They're very good breathers. They breathe right down into their tummies. Or how cats breathe, animals. Okay, so this is called abdominal breathing. And you can start to count as you breathe in and then count as you breathe out. And you might find your inhale is longer than the exhale, or the other way around. It doesn't matter. And I just want you to see if you can notice the difference between your inhale and exhale, because they are very different. They have different roles. So your inhale is bringing in oxygen, so that's your fuel, your nutrients, your energy. And then when you breathe out, you're getting rid of waste, so you're getting rid of your carbon dioxide, but you're getting rid of tension. So can you feel when you breathe out that you relax a bit more?
Yeah, definitely.
So this is what I work on, the exhalation. So when you breathe out, and as adult humans, we are very bad at breathing out. We spend most of the time breathing in and holding the breath in, so we're all stressed and on alert. But when you breathe out, you tap into something called the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest, or your relaxation response. So can you feel that?
And it feels like as I'm breathing in, I'm going uphill.
Yes. So when you breathe
freewheeling downhill when I'm breathing out.
That's really lovely. I'm going to use that. So when you breathe in, it's energizing because it's your oxygen. And then the exhale is this lovely sort of like release. But because we're not very good at breathing out, we tend to walk around in a sort of bit of a fight or flight because we hold the breath in without even thinking about it. It's just bad habits. When you're young, you breathe much more efficiently. So in my yoga classes, and I'm sure other yoga classes, hopefully, you start to learn about this amazing tool called the out breath.
I could fall asleep, you know that.
And then you can tap into it all the time. So when you're in the car and you're stressed and someone's cut you up or you're really late, bring your hands onto your tummy and do this breathing. There's loads of different types of it's called pranayama, yogic breathing. That was just general breathing. So in my pregnancy classes, going back to this, which is interesting, obviously the out breath is really important to relax the body. So when you're in labour,
Yes.
your body relaxes.
Yeah.
However, the exhale also gives you momentum. So when you push in labour, you need that out breath to like give you the momentum,
strong, yes.
but also relax the body. So I always use the analogy of like tennis players. There was always a really loud tennis player called Monica Seles, I think it was. And when she hit the tennis racket, she really breathed out. And that's an out breath.
Yeah.
So, but not only does it like give you the momentum, it relaxes you. So it's almost like this paradoxical thing going on.
Yeah.
So I always talk to my pregnancy girls about that.
Yeah, I get that. That's
it's really
good.
interesting, isn't it? And
do you find that you have people, ladies come to you during pregnancy and then they come back afterwards?
Yeah, and I did start a couple of postnatal classes, like mums coming with the babies.
I suppose they haven't got a lot of time
It's
really though afterwards,
that was
have
tricky
they?
to maintain.
Yeah.
You know, it became a bit of a drop in. It was difficult to keep it going. It was quite a funny class actually. So the mums would turn up with these new babies, like 5 or 6 weeks. It's about the mum really. It's not about doing baby yoga. No. It's about the mums coming to have some time. So sometimes you turn up, it was chaotic, the class.
I can imagine.
Some babies just screamed all the way through. Some of them were just being sick. Some of them were having their nappies changed. Some of them just slept all the way through, so the mum would have this like beautiful class.
With everybody else's babies screaming.
But what was so lovely about it is it was the most non-judgmental place. Yes. So the mums knew that if their baby cried all the way through the class, the other mums weren't going, oh, for God's sake.
They all
the other mums were going, thank God it's not just me, you know. So it was really lovely, and I will have to start up again. It's just
it sounds like it's a lovely thing to do.
It's difficult to advertise these things. It's difficult for the mums to sort of
get themselves organised,
going.
Yeah, it's so difficult being a new mum, isn't it? And you just can't get everything done, can you? I do remember it.
I remember. Well, luckily mine are like 19 and 16 now, so they're like, I'm not a mother anymore. But
you're not a grandmother yet then, are you?
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
No.
Oh, well, I've got 9 grandchildren now.
9?
So life gets busy again then. So how long have you been doing yoga then? Or teaching it, I should say.
So I've been teaching just over 10 years. I was a German and French teacher in Brighton for 18 years.
That's very different.
Teaching teenagers. Yeah, very different. And then I started practicing yoga in Brighton while I was teaching, and I think that's what made me suddenly drew me to it. It just really helped me to relax. Teaching teenagers is very stressful, as you can imagine. Teaching modern languages is even more stressful. And I went to yoga really, as most people do, I suppose, just for fitness.
Yeah.
I didn't think anything else of it. And then as I started going, I sort of would get to the end of the class and you lie down in something called Shavasana, which means corpse pose, which is not the nicest translation. Anyway, and you lie down at the end, you just do this sort of relaxation, even just for a couple of minutes, and you feel amazing. It was like you were internalizing your whole physical practice. Then you're like emptying out of effort. And it felt like discharging. It was like you charged up your body, doing all your little movements, and then you just drop into this effortlessness. And it was like, this is amazing. Normally, if you do exercise, just jump in the shower, you don't really sort of metabolize what you've just done, you know? And so that is the end of the class where everyone just drops is like so important. Yeah. Do you know what? I trained as a dancer and I was a gymnast, and I sort of, when I was 18, I went to Goldsmiths to study languages, and I really wanted to be a dancer, but I just sort of went down the academic route. And for most of my 20s and 30s, I found watching dance really difficult. It used to upset me a little bit because I sort of abandoned that path.
Yeah, I get that.
So suddenly being able to resurrect like my movement in my 40s, late 30s, I suppose. Well then I was about 45 when I trained as a yoga teacher, but being able to suddenly start a career with movement in my 40s was just like, it was almost like perfect timing, you know? Yeah. And I have a teaching background, so I find teaching just really easy. You know, I could probably teach physics, even though I absolutely no idea. I don't understand it in the slightest. But
make it up as you go.
It's sort of facilitating.
Yes, I know what you're saying.
I think a lot of people who are very good at yoga and they can get into these amazing positions and then they want to be yoga teachers, they don't realise that most people who come to yoga can't do these things, So you can't just teach difficult poses because people are coming in not even knowing their left and right.
Well, you don't want to scare them from coming back again, do you?
You don't.
You've got to make it simple to begin with.
Yeah, because the yoga's for everybody. It's about, regulating your nervous system and calming everything down and getting to just know your own little shape that you've created it, from all the things you've done throughout your life. Nobody feels what you feel.
Listening to you describe your classes and all about it makes me feel a whole lot more enthusiastic about yoga because, as I said, I've never done it, but I'm thinking if anyone else is listening to this having felt the same as me, they might be thinking, oh, that's all right then, I can...
Honestly, I think you would be so surprised if you came... I teach about 9 classes a week. 2 chair, a pregnancy, and then normal.
How are we going to get in touch with you if we want to come along? Do we have to book? Can someone just turn up? And how do they contact you?
People just turn up, that's fine. I'm pretty old school, so I have on my website, which is www.yogawithfreanewport.co.uk.
And Frea is F-R-E-A, isn't it?
Yes, there's no Y in it. Just drop me an email or a text. All the numbers are on my website, and I generally try and get back to people pretty quickly. There's no sort of booking system on my website. I don't work like that. But, if you don't hear back from me, but you probably will, just turn up and there will always be a space and I've got mats and everything and, just come and dip your toe in and you will see that the atmosphere is just so lovely. It really
does sound lovely. So you've got 9 classes, so don't mention all of them because that will get confusing. Just give us a couple of your classes that might be of interest to people.
Okay, so on a Monday evening in Christchurch, I teach yoga for deep rest, which is very gentle yoga. It's for people who are really exhausted or have anxiety, and we do a guided meditation at the end called Yoga Nidra, where you just slip into this blissful
sounds
relaxation.
Lovely.
So if you want that very relaxing sort of yoga. Tuesday evening I've got beginners, which is a mix of things. Wednesday morning is strength and balance, and which is... I've got a lot of menopausal women in that class, but men can come. Everyone's included. Thursday night Wednesday evening is beginners. That's a real mixed class. I've got men and women in that class. Thursday evening in Killeen is a vinyasa. That's a very flowy, that's quite a strong class. Then Friday morning is a well woman yoga class, which is all women, and it's very restorative. I read a poem, and they get a little goddess card at the beginning, which is their favourite part of the class.
I can see why. Yes,
they're really nice cards. There's nothing awful on them. So. And that's a really relaxing class as well. So there's something for everyone, really. I try and make sure I've got a range of types of yoga.
And what's the youngest that you have people join?
So I've had quite a lot of mums coming with their daughters. I'd say 14 maybe, if they come with their mum. I have taught some teenage yoga because I was a secondary school teacher. I have gone into schools, actually. It's quite difficult to get that one off the ground as well. There are just certain things I've struggled to
But you sound like you've got enough on your plate, to be honest with you. You've got lots of different things going on.
Yeah, I want to serve everyone because I don't want people to think that it's only for a certain type of person. It really, really, really isn't.
Well, I've really enjoyed hearing about it. And you are going to be coming along to an event that I'm part of I instigated, on November the 29th at the Queen's Hotel, which is a wellness, a mind, body and spirit event. You will be there, and so anyone can come along and have a chat with you and see what you've got to offer, which sounds amazing.
Yeah, I'll probably do a few different types. Might do my Kate Bush yoga class.
Oh, Kate Bush!
Yes, I do that every year on her birthday at
Bishop
Park.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
It's real fun. God. Although one of my speakers decided to break down this year, which was slightly stressful.
So just quickly about your Kate Bush session then. It's in Beechwood Park And can people just turn up and take part
But it's
in
only
this?
once a year on her birthday.
Oh, right. And when's her
The
birthday?
30th of July.
Oh, we've just missed it this year
But
then.
I am going to do, this is a few people who have asked me to do this, I'm going to do a Fleetwood Mac one just before Christmas.
Yes.
Not outside. I've got to find a big venue for that.
Yeah.
It's quite tricky finding venues in Newport,
Yes.
unfortunately. Because I think Fleetwood Mac would be quite a good, like the Rumours album.
Oh, that would be great, wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
and people can put on their Stevie Nicks.
Oh, I love all
outfit.
this. Yeah, it just puts a different spin on it all, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's fun. And again,
Yeah.
people just move it like,
Yeah.
well, you can imagine how the Kate Bush one goes.
Yeah.
You can see how she
Yes.
moves, and it's pretty similar.
Yeah.
And I think Stevie Nicks is quite similar mover.
Yeah. I love that you're bringing this fun element into it. This,
Well, movement is really important, isn't
yes,
it?
it is.
There's a saying by George Bernard Shaw, who wrote Pygmalion, My Fair Lady,
Mm-hmm.
and he says, "We don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop
that's
playing."
very true, isn't it?
And I try and use that a lot.
Yeah.
Although every time I try and say it, I have to really think about
I know.
it. You know what I mean? And
I do.
And it's so true. I think something happens to us and we stop moving. And
Yeah.
movement is medicine. I don't know. Someone came up with that, and it's
Movement
really
is medicine.
true.
That is.
You know.
Well, I think that's a great thing to end on, actually. And with that, I'm going to say thank you very much for joining me
Thank you for
today,
having me.
Freya.
I really
and
enjoyed
just
it.
one more time, let's have your email address or your website, rather.
Yeah, it's www.yogawithfreya, Newport.co.uk.
Fabulous. Great. Thanks ever so much.
Thank you for having me.
Really enjoyed it.